Hello. Hi, I was, goodness me. Supposed to unmute that, make me bigger, make Chantel smaller, and say hi to everybody and happy Easter. None of that was happening. So I apologize for that late start, everybody. I'm trying to get everything together over here. And yeah, I was looking for something and I couldn't find it. And I wondered where I put it. And it was to do with something to do with diagnosing patients, but I don't know. I'm losing things. Don't like losing books. But anyway, happy Easter, everybody. Hope everyone's been having a lovely Easter. If you're still celebrating Easter, I hope you're all having a lovely day. Let me just make sure I say hi and thank you. Hey, Angel of Glass, come on in. Summer Cats is here. Come on in. Miss Catherine's here. Hi, guys. Happy if you had a nice Easter there. Charlotte's here. Come on in, guys. Brianna's here. Kelly's here. We know I don't often do Chantel, so it's something different. Gen X is here. Devert is here. Sharon's here. Just Cody came in. All sorts of people came in to see Chantel, Foodie Beauty. And I started having a cup of coffee, and now I'm getting hot. Trying to stay awake. I forgot that 8 o'clock is like late for me nowadays. But Chantel came out, and we'll make this one not too long since it's obviously Sunday evening and we all have to get out for work. I didn't realize I hope everyone. Let me make sure I plug in my computer. Hold on. I don't want to go dead. I knocked it off. Hold on. There we go. So we were out. Hold on. Let me make sure I'm not blinding everybody too. Hold on. It's a professional setup over here. Okay. There we go. Sometimes the lights get into my glasses. And I was in my contacts yesterday, but some days I just don't want to put them on. And today is one of them. Hi, Dr. Falcon. Come on in. Hey, Sammy. Come on in. You woke up. Hey, I had to have a nap at some point. Junebug and I had gone out for a no small task to make Chantel smaller. No, it's not. And she's... I swear, I was going to talk about her eyes, but now she got sunglasses on. And she came out. I don't know if she live streamed or not. I can't keep up. I try to watch her through other creators half the time. She may have live streamed again. Who knows? But she put out a video where she says, "Where have I been?" And I didn't even realize she was gone. I mean, these people are only gone for like a day. So, I mean, it's not like they're gone for a week and we haven't, sometimes Chantel is gone, but that might be because YouTube has forcibly taken her down. But otherwise, she's around. And I saw that Tim was harassing Ted and Jolene a little bit more. So that was interesting. Ted was definitely coming back with some comments to Tim that were gold. So maybe at some point I'll make a reaction about that. Your first time here? Well, we have Chantel say she can't get out of bed. I mean, what? Chantel, I was going to talk about your bulging eye. I had worked out 3 differentials around your diabetes and your diabetic retinopathy and potentially diabetes macular degeneration was another one. Macular edema, sorry. Diabetic macular edema. And then there was some other thing that I had, some type of hypertensive disease. And now you've told me you can't get out of bed. So now you're trying to come in with some dizziness and nausea and obviously some type of vertigo. And so I thought we would bring up a recent guideline and work our way through Chantel's symptom tree. That we do not diagnose or treat. I just wanted to throw that out there. I do not diagnose or treat Chantel. Okay. But obviously, when she came out with some symptoms, the natural thing that I will do is try to think, what if I were Chantel's primary care physician? What would be my diagnostic protocol that I would use? So let's just get in here. Let's get Chantel started. I was already running behind, so let's get this one going. As to where have I been? sped her up to 1.25. I will apologize. I'll make sure I link the guideline I'm going to use in order to evaluate Chantel. Yes, this is for educational purposes. Absolutely. I do not diagnose or treat Chantel. Absolutely not. I've never physically assessed any of these patients. And unless you actually do a full-scale physical assessment, which was part of what I was looking for, was my Bates physical assessment book, which I need to find. That thing was not inexpensive. I'm like, where is it? It should be on the table here. I don't move my books around a great deal. They usually stay next to me. So it's a bit odd that I don't have that one at hand, nearby. So I need to find that at some point. But anyway, if you do have a chance and want to join the group here for memberships, there's a link there. And for today, at some point, I'm actually going to give out some free gifted memberships to the Life in 5 for having put up with Chantel today. Me being and it being Easter and the season of giving. And as we know, one of Tim's videos, gosh, I wish I'd watched one of them because it was awesome. Where he talked about Good Saturday, which I did not realize was part of the Christian calendar of Easter. Yes, you've had vertigo before, Brianna? Yes, and there's different types, so that's what we're going to take a look at. Yeah, we can buy me a coffee too. And just in honor of that, and those of you who have bought me coffee and all your generous donations, and just hitting the likes and being part of this community and watching Chantel, because there's probably lots of people going live about Chantel at this hour. So I appreciate you being here watching me on this one, because I can't remember. I'm sure had I gone earlier at some time in the day when somebody wasn't talking about Foodie Beauty, but I'm sure there are many creators talking about it at this hour. But let's take a look at Chantel, shall we? And why is she, what's going? Oh, no. I forgot hold on. Let me make me a little smaller. I forgot we got to get through Chantel's blatant ad. So if Chantel's going to have a blatant ad up, let me have one up too at the same time. Let me go back to what Angel Glass here talked about my buy me a coffee link. Let me just throw that up there then. Chantel going to, do one of these. Come on, Chantel. I mean, I had this specifically for Tim, but I think in this case, you are deserving of this particular drop.
No. I simply asked. I said, I wish I could have that dry bacon. Well, I mean, you know what that is.
Well, I guess Chantel's merch shop is now latest dry bag. And mine is my buy me a coffee. So we're all doing it. Why not? In the spirit of Easter, let's just have a good old season of some YouTube dry begging. Right there. Let's take it away. This is some of these have got questionable copyright, Chantel. So I don't know. Maybe are you copywriting these in Canada or Kuwait? Because I don't know, Chantel. I've heard that some of these might be trademarked to the United States. So just be cautious. Sarasota Tim has had to learn a thing or two about copyright.
Now you can request a personalized video just for you from me. So check the description below for the link, or go to cameo.com/foodieb to get your very own special personal cameo video today.
Well, hello guys. Hello Beezers. Hello everyone.
Nice
to see you. I have been missing you. I'm wearing sunglasses.
Now that's irritating, Chantel, because you knew I had posted that I was going to look at your questionable eye. I mean, I can still talk about the questionable eye, but we'll leave that another day because we've got other things to talk about with this one, obviously. And obviously for those of you who've ever had any type of dizziness or nausea, obviously we think of vertigo. But we're going to take a look because there's other things that could be part of this profile. And so other than just obviously this, sort of inner vestibular issue. And so there's different things. So we're actually going to take a little bit of look about that, learn a little bit more around it, because that's what we do around here. Keep going, Chantel. It's just great to see you out here in your sunglasses.
This is not for a dramatic effect.
No, it is.
Maybe a little.
It is.
I'm wearing them because, I look sick. So I'm sparing you. Actually, maybe my bulgy eye is just getting,
Oh.
My camera thing is sliding down. Sorry. So I want to.
We did give a shout out to the bulging eye. Chantel, you need to have that checked out. You really do. I mean, I would actually put the eye over the this other stuff. This is bad, but because I know it can make you feel bad. But the other one, you need to get that checked out. You're gonna lose your eyesight, girl. In my professional opinion, I have not obviously physically assessed you in order to be able to really take a look in there and get you really referred to a specialist, which you would need to see. But since you don't follow up with regular optical care and your diabetes type 2 is off the charts, there are some really serious issues that can be shown through just even one eye being affected. So you're going to lose your eyesight, girl, if you're not careful. And them are just facts from having uncontrolled type 2 diabetes. So something you should definitely take seriously. And another thing I read interesting in my pathology book tonight around the vertigo part is that it's very common to come on in the fourth decade of life. And as we know, Chantel just recently had her 31st birthday. 41st. Let me say that again. 41st birthday. And therefore we that kind of hit that part of the pathology. So you're a prime candidate, Chantel. Oh, Lord, you're going to lose an eye.
It's been 2 days. I know you're probably either wondering if I'm in Canada or have been traveling to Canada in a hospital somewhere. I don't know what the usual, So actually, no, neither. I'm just for the past couple of days, my vertigo has come back. And hasn't been back in a really long time. I've had maybe 3 or 4 bad episodes of vertigo like this. And the first time I ever had it was in 2005. I was living with Pete in our 2-bedroom apartment in Cornwall. And out of nowhere, I just I have to.
That's probably a good decision. And obviously, I'm just flashing up everybody and reading everybody's things. And many people, sadly, have been affected by this. And like I said, I found something. And obviously, because I have access to educate, I'm going to link the article. Obviously, because I have access to educational libraries, I can often access these guidelines without having to pay for, through their associations, because obviously the university is paying for access to these things. So I have been able to access the full 2023 guideline, but it's not dissimilar to the 2017 guideline. Obviously, some minor adjustments there. And so you can take a look at that. And so we'll share that. We'll let Chantel describe her symptoms along a little bit. And then we'll take a look at it, Chantel. I'm so concerned. If anybody, and I meant to add my extra emojis on. I am so sorry, guys. We have enough members now that we can have more emojis. But I know I got some stethoscopes out there, and I should have. I'm gonna add on the other ones because I think we don't have. I think sad pancreas is not there, but I don't think this is really a sad pancreas moment. But we definitely need some stethoscopes out there if you have any of those. I'm hitting my light. Let me not do that because. We would have to be potentially doing some assessments for Chantel and her blood pressure. So that's going to be potentially coming along, depending on the timing of her, how it comes on, because there's different ways depending on the type of. Well, we'll talk about it anyway. Keep going, Chantel.
Hold on to things to walk around. That's how everything just feels like I'm on a boat, like a boat hitting very heavy waves. The best way to describe it. And it is something that's positional, because it's when I stand up to move around, move my head certain ways, that kind of thing. Get up too fast, it's worse.
What were you Googling, Dr. Falcon, out of curiosity? So let me listen to the symptoms here. So like I said, I don't treat or diagnose. So I'm just trying to get a vague assessment here. So she says that it's worse on movement. Okay. So there's different things that actually vertigo. There's two types. There's one where actually if you are still, you feel that the world is moving. And if you are moving, you feel that the world is staying still. So if you're staying still, the world is moving, or you are moving and the world is staying still. And both of these will have you feeling kind of odd and strange. And so that's kind of part of the, hold on, my light went weird. Hold on. I was like, I don't know what happened. That was odd. It just changed its, how bright it was. That was weird. That's very odd. No, sorry about that, guys. That was strange. Oh my goodness. That's very weird. Hold on. Oh my goodness. Let me keep playing Chantel and let her talk about her symptoms. I figure out why my light went weird.
If I want to bend down and grab something and come back up quick, forget about it. Like, I need to really take my time. When I lay down, when I seal, I'm not dizzy. So it is positional, and I have had this before. Like I said, in 2005, I just didn't know what was going on. So I went to a doctor, and, they ran tests, blah, blah, blah. And they ended up giving me some kind of medication for nausea and dizziness that they apparently give to patients on chemotherapy. I really don't remember what it was. But eventually it just went away.
All right. Well, I'm guessing the medication that they gave her for the nausea could be Zofran. That's very common. Anti-emetic medication. The other one, promethazine, probably not so common. You can also use Reglan, but probably Zofran. It's probably the most common one that will be given to somebody. That's the one I'm most likely to give. So, like I said, and I'm wondering about the test, because there is a specific kind of like test that you can do, but it's actually one that you can, and I'll show you the name of it. It's called, and they show this quite nicely here. And it's a way to actually evaluate for different types of vertigo. And the test is called the Dix-Hallpike maneuver. And it's used to diagnose benign proximal positional vertigo. And then there's different ways to do that. So I'll show this real quick. Let me show this to Heaven Set. Let's hope so. Okay, yeah. There we go. All right. So, for example, this is obviously coming through the American Family of Physicians and one of their guidelines, because obviously as a primary care physician, it's not uncommon for patients to come in with dizziness, like Chantel is describing. And it's common, but a diagnostically difficult condition. So it's obviously, as frustrating it is for the patients to get diagnosis as to what's causing the dizziness, can be also just as frustrating, I guess, for practitioners to try to figure out first what the cause is of it. First, you want to obviously eliminate for any type of substance that could be causing any type of dizziness or nausea, whether it's medication. There's other things that can cause these side effects. So you just kind of want to rule these out, make sure that there's none of those that could be potentially causing that to the patient. And then start to look at any other types of reasons and causes. And it's a very, what they call a broad differential diagnosis. And so if you've ever watched my content before, that differential diagnoses are what we would get to, not to get too technical, but usually we try to find three. So what three things that we think potentially could this be? What three things, if we take it down and try to narrow everything with the patient, do we think? And then from those three potential diagnoses, we try to then obviously narrow it down to the one we think is the most appropriate and most likely. Summer Cat says you have the benign, and your neuro told me to try the Dix Halpike or the Epley maneuver. We're trying to rule out med side effects since I'm on an anti-epileptic. Exactly. Absolutely. See, yes, absolutely. Yes. And they're probably, I'm not sure which guideline they're using, but it's probably they could be using multiple guidelines in order to follow this. So yes, that sounds like they're trying to find out, and it's very frustrating. And in order to be able to get to a good diagnosis and obviously a good satisfactory result for the patient, most importantly, because that's really what we want to do at the end of the day, work with the patient and get a good determination as to what's going on. So now, obviously, one of the things that they say could be what they call a peripheral cause. So coming from like the outside, or central causes. So what we would call a peripheral disease can cause significant morbidity, like, but are generally less concerning, whereas ones that would come centrally are more urgent. And you have to do a good physical examination. And the first thing that I thought when I heard Chantel talking about these types of symptoms was that she would need to get a good orthostatic postural hypertension test taken. So if any of you have ever been to the doctors and you've complained of lightheadedness or dizziness or any of these types of things, you were fortunate that that one worked a charm. Oh, awesome. Well, we're going to actually show some of these pictures on this in a second. We'll get back to Chantel, so we're not so boring with all the medical stuff. But yes, what you can pretty much say here with the orthostatic blood pressure measurement is that, and some of you might have even been through this at your doctors. So the test starts that the patient is lying down, and you would have the patient, so you would take an initial blood pressure, you have the patient lie down for 5 minutes, and you take that patient's blood pressure. And then after 5 minutes of that, you ask the patient to sit up. And then after 5 minutes of the patient sitting up, you would take that blood pressure, and then you would ask the patient to stand up. And after 5 minutes of them standing, if they're feeling okay and not lightheaded, because sometimes this is where it happens, you would then take the blood pressure again, and you would start the measure between the difference of the blood pressure from lying to sitting to standing. And if there seems to be very large differences between the three blood pressures, then it's potentially what's known as orthostatic blood pressure, and it's due to the fact that your blood pressure tends to drop then quite low on standing. And so that can end up being the times where we have patients, this happens a lot often with older patients, that they can then get very lightheaded and dizzy and start to pass out. Often, unfortunately, because it's about 5 minutes after they've been sitting up or lying down, they'll go and pass out right there in the bathroom. So, yeah, you did that test multiple times. Your blood pressure would drop to 70. That's low. Yeah. That's it's kind of a poor man's, but it's a good test. It's still a good, and still in 2023, it's still a really good way to know if people are, dropping blood pressure too quickly. Yes, it is scary when you're alone in the house. It really is. And so it is worth sitting for a moment at the edge of your bed and not just getting up and moving real fast. That's one thing I learned from having done this test is, take a minute and sit and just get some blood flow in your legs before you do those. They always took mine immediately after the position change. Oh, after the position change, they did that. So I was told sometimes after you would want to wait sometimes too afterwards, because it would be like the drops after. So that's how I remember. Maybe I don't remember now. Maybe I was so old, but I usually thought you had to wait 5 minutes in between. So to sit for 5, lay for 5, or they have to lay for 5, sit for 5, stand for 5, and then you're supposed to measure in between. That's what I remember. That's how I remember it. Yeah, it's 5 to 10 minutes each one. Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah. I was like, it's been a while since I've had to do that test on a patient, but that's what I thought. They shouldn't do it straight away because you don't know yet. All right. So there, if you have that, you're supposed to do, then you have to do this blood pressure measurement, the full cardiac and neurological examination, assessment for nystagmus. So like stuff going on with the eye. You've got to get this, the Dex-Halpack maneuver for patients with triggered dizziness. There's this other HINTS test. And then there's some lab testing. So imaging are not usually required, but can be helpful. So it's really not going to require people having to, so, I mean, in reality, if this is something that Chantel's experiencing, she can get out there to a doctor's and they're not going to have to run an expensive test in Kuwait to kind of get this figured out. And she keeps saying it. Oh, we'll bring her back. Anyway. All right, Chantel. I'm going to bring Chantel back. We'll keep on going. Okay, keep going, Chantel.
Like it just went away after a few days. So that's what I'm assuming with this. It is getting slightly better, but I still have to rest a lot. And if it doesn't get better in like a day or two, I'll probably get Salah to take me to a doctor just to be sure it's nothing more serious. And yeah, that's where I've been. I've just been honestly ill, not well. So yeah, I just haven't had the energy to come on here, be
I'm so glad,
social,
Sammy.
even in, a cyber sense online. I literally feel like I'm swaying.
No,
it's so bad.
It's so bad.
It's scary a bit, but I would be more scared if it didn't get better or worse.
So I guess Chantel's wearing the sunglasses because the sunlight and everything else is causing her, either her eye looks bad and she doesn't want to, or literally because the light is making her feel more nauseated, I guess. Or the drama effect. I don't know. Did you say it was the eye was bad? Girl, I wanted to talk about the eye. All right, keep going.
Just when I change positions. And I remember the doctor telling me that. And it's just sometimes when I'm laying down too, though, I get weird dizzy moments. I don't know. It's really hard to explain unless you've had it. It feels pretty much exactly like the other times. There was one other time I've had it. And again,
it's interesting because you can see kind of her in her glasses here, like right here. It's fun because you can actually kind of get your multiple Chantels here. All right, keep going, Foodie.
And it just went away on its own with a lot of rest, staying hydrated.
Interesting.
That kind of thing.
Hydrated.
That's about it. So nothing.
Hydrated. I'm not sure about that. Let me get back over here to the our friend over here. I don't know about hydration making a difference, girl. Okay, so the treatment for dizziness is dependent on what is the etiology or the disease of the symptoms. What is the disease process of these symptoms? That's what they mean by etiology. There's something called the Canalith repositioning procedures. That's what we had. Abriana was talking about the Epley. I believe that was you, wasn't it? They said the Epley maneuver was useful for you. And that's the one that's most helpful in treating. Was that you, Abrianna? Am I getting that right? Who was? I know, was that one of you guys? We're talking about that. I'm sorry if I can't remember who it was earlier. Or was it you, Angel of Glass? So I apologize. I'm trying to keep up. Not you. Was it Angel of Glass? Was that you, Angel of Glass, who said it was the Epley maneuver? I apologize. But this maneuver being helpful in treating the benign proximal positional vertigo. Who was that who said that earlier? I know it was who was it? It was you, Kat. It was Summer Cats. Thank you, Summer Cats. Thank you. You've had it done too? Okay, thank you. All right. Thank you, Summer Cats, for letting me know. I apologize. I knew it was I am half there with trying to keep up with everyone's name in the chats. I'm not doing too bad, but I apologize there, Summer Cat. And then there's something called vestibular rehabilitation, which is useful in treating many peripheral and central etiologies. Okay. Now there's other ones things to address the cause, but they're basically saying drug interventions are limited because it often affects the ability of the central nervous system to compensate for dizziness. So that's interesting to know. And so everyone who always assumes that we want to kind of, use drugs to fix everything, we kind of know in the case of this particular one, even though people probably complain of nausea as one of the symptoms along with it, that really the drugs are going to do nothing for anybody at all. So that's kind of where they're kind of talking about that one there. Okay. And then they talk about kind of like, so the timing is really important with this particular assessment in here because that's the onset, the duration, and evolution of the dizziness. So being able to find this information out is probably going to be one of the things that we're going to have to understand the most clearly from a patient in order to be able to really start to kind of work down the diagnostic tree. And so they talk about this is the peripheral. That would be like Summer Cats was talking about, the benign proximal positional vertigo. There's also vestibular neuritis. And here are some of the clinical descriptions here. And of course, Meniere's disease, which I'm sure many have also heard of. And this is when you have 2 or more episodes of vertigo lasting 20 minutes to 12 hours. Oh, Lord, that must be awful. And that's a definite, definite. And they've been able to rule out everything else and find that this was the reason, the disease process going on. And then obviously what they call the central, which you can actually have vestibular migraines, what's called vertebrobasilar ischemia. Oh, wow. That's an arterial occlusion. Oh, gosh. And then there's some other causes here. And then they're talking about all this triggered. This is when you're here. And then spontaneous, that's seconds to minutes, minutes to hours. Head motion may worsen the symptoms, no obvious triggers, symptoms at rest. Spontaneous, minute to hours. So was Chantel saying, and I'll go back over to the chat here, was Chantel saying the beezes are wildly entertaining? Oh, yeah, the beezes are wildly entertaining. The beezes are wild. Did some beezes come on in? They want to help out. It might be Chantel. Chantel is waiting for me to come out and show this to her. She always does. Have you ever noticed when I've actually said that I'm going to do a Foodie Beauty live? She always comes out with some medical thing. I guess she wants me to start helping her out with. So I'm here for you, Chantel. I'm here for you. Happy Easter, girl. Happy 420. I'm sure you wish you were somewhere being able to celebrate the day instead of having vertigo in the bed. But no, you don't see any beezers? We have no beezers that you can see? Oh, that's okay. Well, Chantel has come in these chats before as Sarah Lee. So she'll catch up on us. So we're okay. Okay. So here we have these episodic vestibular syndromes. And this is where it gets interesting, I think, for me, because we have things that are what they call triggered and what they call spontaneous. And so triggered by changes in their position. And so patients with orthostatic hypotension may describe symptoms when triggered by moving from a sitting or a supine. That means from sitting to lying to a standing position. And the Meniere disease is an example of episodic vestibular syndrome, and that is spontaneous but not triggered. So is Chantel saying that she is triggered or spontaneous? Because if it was, that would get into, see, look, over here, we're getting into cardiac stuff, hypoglycemia, which I don't think Chantel would ever have hypoglycemia unless she overdid her insulin, which is not going to happen with that insulin anyway, because it's not the right type. So I don't know if even Chantel could overdo that insulin necessarily. I mean, I guess potentially, because it is insulin, but I don't even know if she has any insulin left. Does she? I'd be surprised at this point. And then there's some other ones. And this would be the BPPV or orthostatic hypotension here. So I can't remember. Which did she say she was? Did she say she was triggered or not? Let me hear. Let's go back over here to Chantel. All right, Chantel, keep going.
Nothing too exciting. I just trying to feel better. Oh, excuse me. Been sleeping a lot. You know, that's the thing that feels the best. Sleeping and laying down. So I've been using all my energy on just trying to, you know, tidy up around myself, or, you know, like Salah does help me, obviously, but I've just been trying to use my energy for like other things. And so I've been kind of just offline. And
Chantel. This is the mental health part. We are all very aware that he is no longer in the building, that Salah has left the building, Chantal. We do not see his keyboard. He's not out there even trying to torture you with Crazy Frog anymore, because that was his like final, like, you make me come to this apartment to hang out with you, to show people that, you know, I'm still your husband on this channel of yours, then I'm going to torture everybody with some Crazy Frog. That's what I think he was doing. I think that was Salah's way of kind of showing his defiance to Foodie, because she hated when he played it. She really didn't enjoy it. She acted like she kind of played along with it, but you could tell that she in reality was annoyed by his Crazy Frog play. That Casio is gone. He gave her the keys to the car and basically said, have at it, girl. And so I don't think that he would even shed a tear if you left the country. It makes me worried for the cat, because you do need to figure out something for her. And I have a feeling that he's not even returning your calls at this point. I think he's gone. Oh, look at this. We got full Chantel here. Is this what she really looks like in the glasses here before she gets into the camera? Is this the real Chantel? But I think he's gone, Chantel. So I don't think, and it seems that we, you know, there's certain things, it depends. Did she say,
and
I need to go back. Hold on. I need to see if, did she say that it came on with her moving or not moving? Because if it's, like I said, if it's one way, if it's triggered by, and it lasts seconds to minutes, and it's when she's lying still, she has no symptoms. You would have to do this Dix-Hallpike, would be helpful in assessing her, and symptoms triggered by head motion or change in body position, which I believe is the one that she was more saying earlier. And so that would go more to that BP, the benign proximal positional vertigo, This would be a potential differential diagnosis, Chantel. I'm not treating or diagnosing you, girl. Or also having orthostatic hypotension, which, if you have your own blood pressure cuff in the house, you could take that type of measurement by yourself in the home. It's not something that you necessarily have to have a medical professional do. Something that you yourself could start to actually do that one alone in the home. You just want to make, like I said, 5 minutes in between each one in order to get a good assessment. And use the left arm. That would be the better arm. Obviously, gold standard, you want somebody, with a stethoscope and getting the blood pressure cuff on and, really listening to a blood pressure. That's always gold standard. But if it can't be taken that way, then obviously, if you have just a machine at the house, that's a very simple thing. So, Chantel, you could potentially work this one out by yourself. There's no real medications, unfortunately. Her potentially having vertigo, as I said, increases because she is in that 4th decade of life. And so it feels like she's in this episodic vestibular syndrome at this point. Okay, keep going, Chantel. Actually, let's do something fun. Let's give away some memberships since we're about 50 minutes in. A way to say thank you tonight to all of you who are here joining in. So I'm going to get over here and let Chantel keep talking, and I'm going to get ready to give some memberships.
Just taking a rest, sick days. I wish they were paid sick days. That would be cool. There's no such thing as that in the YouTube world, I guess. But no, I'm fine. I'll be okay. I'm just joking around.
That's what I said about the paid sick days, about the fact that with all these people. So I was about to give some memberships there. I love gifting the memberships, so we're going to give 5 memberships. So I'm excited because I know that it's time to do some foodie for all the Foodieverse people. And I know that people do love to hear about Chantel and her medical diagnoses. So I think we're on to some potentially good ones. Like I said, she would need a good physical assessment. And if we could get her to do that one particular thing, which I'll show you in a moment what that Dick's Hallpike maneuver looks like, Hallpike maneuver looks like. And maybe we could even look at a YouTube video on it if we have enough time. That'd be fun. Isn't this a learning session? See how much we get to learn from you, Chantel? Gosh, girl, Chantel. Take it away, girl. Take it away.
But yeah, I know a lot of you are probably curious, freaking out, like she hasn't been on in 1 day. Now 2. I'll try to go live. We're using my live streams. I'll just probably be sealing, probably be boring until I do feel a bit better. Excuse me. So I'm just being cozy in my room, in my bed, watching creepy movies. And yeah, that's about it. Just spending time with my family, my cat.
All right. I just wanted to announce everybody who got to get a gifted membership. Catherine B was gifted a membership. Candace Young was gifted a membership. Patty Porkchop. Funny Girl 1920. Oh, that's a good one. I know all these people. And Hunter Johnson. All of you, congrats. Woohoo. That was awesome. And a lot of those names I recognize. So I was very happy to be able to gift you guys all of those. So enjoy for a month. And you can check in on the members only content. And if you have any interest in checking out my counter notification sent to Sarasota Tim, and hopefully soon I'll have some time to go over the cease and desist. All right, Chantel, keep going, girl. I think we got you figured out today.
My husband. That's really about it. Trying to think of some new merch ideas, by the way, which, thank you to all of you who have purchased my merch.
Chantel, who's like 7 years late on her merch job. See, I would have to make sure that, I like to make sure that all my cotton is ethically sourced and all this stuff. I don't think that I would have any type of merchandise that would match my need for ethical sustainability on a product. So I don't know about that. But Chantel, I think, and then I don't know. I was looking at something like on it, and it looked like, I don't know. She obviously didn't put a lot of effort into it. And at least I had a designer do all the stuff on my logos and all of the emojis and everything that you guys get on all your badges and everything on your Life and Vibe community, the Good Life membership. This was all created by a female designer here in the United States who I use and who I probably need to follow up and get some more stuff done with her. But Chantel, I have a much smaller channel than you have. And when I went to sort of properly brand and create things for the membership, I used a designer to do it, a graphic designer. I didn't use an AI. I used a human being who would collaborate and create something. And she was the one who created all the stethoscopes. And when I get back out, now that we have so many members, I can add all my other emojis on. Sad pancreas, because I haven't had sad pancreas on for a while. All the little emojis of me, all of that, the June bug ones, all of that was created by this graphic designer who I worked with here in the United States. I chose an American designer specifically because I wanted to give to my community at the time, and to a female creator as well. So, I mean, that's the sort of stuff I choose to do with my money, that I get for the channel, or, take Sarasota Tim to, attorneys. But for somebody like you, Chantel, who has been so long here in the, on YouTube, to not have, you couldn't have hired somebody to really, created some nice stuff with I mean, gosh, nothing even like something cute with Julia, at least. I don't know, girl. Something. Anyway. Keep going, Chantel.
I know it's not like the best merch out there. I'm not a graphic designer.
Terrible.
It's expensive to hire a graphic designer. And even if it's crappy,
it's not that much, actually. I had my banner created. They did the video that you saw, the intro video. Do you think I did the intro video that did all the things about all the emojis and all of that and the badges? That was created by my graphic designer. Okay? That was created by a graphic designer that I use here in the United States. That's who did that work. All the banners that have all of that was created. And I had a brand new channel. And before I launched my membership, Chantel, my memberships, I worked with somebody because I wanted to make sure it looked professional and it looked worthy of my community. So, and I remember I launched all different things. So, that's why it's like, it was a labor of love. I worked on it with somebody. We spent time together, going and she was creating the vision of the community. It was important, but you're so lazy, Chantel. I just can't believe these creators, and they always complain about money. These people far outstrip any of the earnings that I make from my channel. And yet I feel it's worth the investment, because I want a professional looking product as best as I can. And yet someone like Chantel or even Sarasota Tim, who've made a lot of money from these platforms, don't seem to be able to ever hire other people or use their money for anything that supports even the values potentially of the communities they represent, and that's, I feel like I'm maybe a voice, but it's a voice of all of you who sit and watch and support me and and subscribe. We finally got over 3,700 subscribers. So thank you guys so much for that. I really appreciate it. I know that anybody who has memberships has the ability to gift memberships every month. And I'm very happy to give my stuff away. When do you gift anything to your pizzas? Are you giving like one piece of merchandise as a giveaway, that if I did a giveaway, if I launched, and this is just me personally, if I was launching merchandise, one thing I would definitely do is I would definitely, the night I would say, if I was doing it and I was releasing it, I would be gifting at least one thing of merchandise to one of my people watching. You can get into Nightbot and you can easily figure out how to gift things or do a giveaway. It's not rocket science. Really, it's not, Chantel. I've done it. I gave away Christmas cards. I mean, you don't have to get very exciting. You know, hey, Catherine. Yeah, Catherine got gifted a membership tonight. It's right. 0 effort, Chantel. Yeah, she doesn't put any effort. It's about the amount of effort she puts into her health. 0. Just sad excuses. Is this that you have to wonder? Because, you know, Chantel loves to get a sad fish illness out there, to deflect. So is the vertigo and the sunglasses, all of this, is this to deflect from her having dropped the laziest merchandise on YouTube ever? Because if I was doing a merchandise, and I'm nowhere near a place where I would feel like I said, I would have to ethically source, I would want to make sure that, I would want to know where my clothes were being made. Let's put it that way. I'm one of those types. I just am. I'd rather spend a little bit more and know that I'm getting a product that hasn't exploited a bunch of people along the way. So how many people are being exploited also, Chantel, because of your merchandise? Oh, you got to get a scoot. You got to get your husband. Oh, tube feeding. Oh, well, you are a wonderful caregiver. I know a thing or two about a tube feed because I manage a tube feed patient all day long, not to give anything away. So I am very familiar with a tube feed. So you get that feed going. I'm guessing it's nighttime continuous. Or are you doing a bolus? Probably. You don't have to let us know. But I'm so glad we gave you a little bit of a chance. And I'm glad you won that membership tonight. Happy Easter for that one. Abriana says, oh, Salah fighting. She's crying a lot. Oh, Salah gone. That's why she's crying a lot, girl. She knows her time in Kuwait's coming to an end. Salah gone. My thought is we have not seen a speck of his physical being in that apartment. And I think that's why she's got the keys to the car. I think that one day that she was rolling around, I think she was probably looking for him because she can't figure out. I think maybe he may text her, because he needs to, maintain. But I think otherwise checked out. I don't think he's around but a great deal. But that's just my opinion. I think a lot of people probably watch her more than I do. And so might have other, thoughts on that. But I have a feeling he's really gone, like checked out, gone. Catherine says she has no principles. So she cannot be out of alignment with her morals. Yeah, she's no morals. She's morals of an alley cat. Yeah. Oh, well. And Charlotte says she's been stalking him for weeks. Absolutely. And I'm sure that's a crime in Kuwait as much as it is in any other country, Chantel. Stalking is a crime, girl. It's a crime. All right, keep going.
It's what I can do for now. So
no, you can't.
I might do some of my drawings and put them on.
No, Chantel. This is why everyone feels like it's a cash grab, rather than just something that you really wanted to, do for your community in a really sort of, and not that anybody thinks that when a creator doesn't launch their merch, that they're obviously not going to be making some type of profit from it. But I understand your profit margin is out of control, Chantel, out of control. So you really are trying to milk your community, which is worse. Because most of the time, if anybody understands the standards of business, okay, and I used to have to write lots of proposals for companies. Basically, if you hit around 30% profit, you're doing a decent amount of profit. That's a decent amount of profit, 30%. So anything under 30, you could be slimming your margins. Anything over 30, you're probably really, starting then to really milk, overcharge for people. That's kind of like the sort of general business consensus. Okay. So anywhere where you're marking up and you start getting up to 50%, 100%, those are some major markups where you are beyond just making, profit. You're like literally price gouging your customers at that point. And so I think since your merchandise lacks, it just like the rush of the launch, how little thought was put behind the actual designs, instead of just having like one really good design, which would be my thought, like one thing that really kind of gave a good, what you felt was a representation of you and who you are and who your channel is. That would be my thought. I mean, I have all sorts of ideas that could go on to things just because I have so many great emojis already that could start to create logos onto merchandise. Because I really thought about how to brand myself initially. And you have it, and you could pay for somebody and have one really good logo that could go on, some very selected items in a few colors and make it something really nice, on a couple of items, like a really nice logo that looks good on it, and make sure it's size accessible for your audience too. You're almost as bad as glitters in the sweater collection.
Some merch. I don't know. You guys can let me know.
The feelings on your merch.
You guys can let me know what you would purchase. I can make it. I can draw it for you. Like somebody requested the drain rat, and I thought they were just trolling, but
really, is drain rat really what you feel like? I mean, fully embodies. I mean, your community and you as a channel. Drain rat. Nothing gets past me. I just sort of, oh, hey, Candace, come in. Yeah, you got gifted a membership. Happy Easter. Yeah, giving them away here. Not like Chantel. I don't think she ever gifts anything. She's not even a gifted one of her bad merchandise things. I mean, really, you really could have spent a little bit of 5 minutes. I mean, I took like a month or so because I got sick, but it took me a while to work. Like I said, find the right designer, reach out, get some proposals, talk to these things take time when you care. I just find it she's so lazy with you should be grateful that people bought stuff. Okay, keep going, Chantel.
Shout out to you because they actually did buy a drain rat hoodie, and I was like, wow, that's awesome. So thank you very much for buying that. So yeah, I guess that's about it. Like I said, I'll try to go live because I miss you guys.
Oh, great. Great. Oh, great. I guess I could put yawning in there. I mean, that's always like a potential sign for some cardiac conditions, Chantel. All right, let's get back over to our guideline. Let's make sure that Chantel knows what's going on. All right. So we kind of feel like from her talking about the fact that she feels better when she stays still and stuff, I feel like this is that triggered. Asymptomatic always means without symptoms. Okay. So this is always the fun part. So here we come. Here we go. We get down our little decision tree here. Like I said, this guideline, unfortunately, is the not available to the general public unless you want to spend $34 to see it. So I am sharing something special here with this 2023 guideline that I only, it's special access to this. So thank you so much to the American family physicians for letting me share this today. So here we come in. Patient presents with the dizziness or the vertigo. And we talked about what that timing was. So it's that duration, it's the, the late, the onset, all of these different things. So the timing is very important. Is it, and that was that idea of it being triggered or not triggered. So is it episodic or is it acute? Like, is it, so here, the timing. Is this something that has just like come on suddenly out of nowhere? Or is it something that comes off and on? Like, so when we're thinking of something that's acute, obviously it's like out of nowhere. And then again, we've get triggered and spontaneous, because here, this acute, you're going to think of like traumas and other things that are happening and medications. So when it's like this sudden coming in, or is it episodic? So this timing is very important here. So that's one of the keys that's going to help us find out which way. I'm thinking Chantel's coming over here into the episodic rather than the acute. And then again, we talked about triggered and spontaneous. And they even give you here, that is the triggered is exacerbation of symptoms with movements, does not aid in determining whether the etiology is peripheral versus central. We talked about that as well. And then you would do this Dix-Hallpike maneuver. Here, if it was triggered, which we felt that Chantel said that as long as she was laying still, she wasn't getting symptoms. So this meant kind of felt into here. So if she does this Dix-Hallpike maneuver, if it's a positive on this, she would be potentially here at the BPPV, or if it's a negative on that test. So this is very simple, Chantel. You would find here we would need to do that orthostatic hypertension. So if you have that blood pressure cuff in your house, we can figure out what was the cause of this. We do not treat or diagnose. Okay, so here we go. Some medications and substances associated with dizziness, medication, causal. Again, all this heart stuff going on. All this other, obviously, alcohol, benzos, anti-diabetic agents. So, Chantel, have you been overdoing it and giving yourself hypoglycemia? We don't know. Okay, so here we've got this maneuver here that says here, this is that Dix-Hallpike. This test consists of a series of 2 maneuvers. A, with the patient sitting on the examination. So you need to get Salah over, girl, and get him to do this maneuver for you. And this is that Epley. But anyway, if she does this particular maneuver here, and you have to have it hanging off of here for 20 degrees at the end of the exam table, and the patient remains in this position for 30 seconds, and then the patient returns to the upright position and is observed for 30 seconds. Well, maybe you do want a professional doing this. But what I'm saying is this is something that she could simply have seen if she wanted to at a emergency or urgent care in Kuwait, if she really wanted to. But there's no medication. There really isn't anything per se that they could do medication wise. So what can we do? Okay. All right. So this is if it was this particular BPPV. Do we get some treatment here? Hold on. Let's see how we could get some treatments here. We got some pearls of wisdom over here. Missing strokes. Hopefully Chantel's not had a stroke. Sorry, I don't want to laugh on that. And we got some other things here. We got some, what do we got here? What do we do? What do we do for treatment? They didn't say there was no pharmacological. We have this Epley maneuver. This could help you out, Chantel. That could be beneficial for you. If it's the that was for the BPPV, that could be beneficial. Just doing this particular maneuver here, if that's the one, Chantel. The Epley maneuvers are effective for posterior canal canalists. However, other maneuvers are more effective at repositioning stones in the horizontal canal. So basically, they're trying to say that the little stones in your ear canals, you got to get those back into place still. Potentially. We're not treating, diagnosing. Okay. So there's really, it's a positional thing. So, here. It says here, this is interesting. Okay. Obviously, if you're overdoing it on your drugs, you can actually use some, it says here, pharmacological treatments, including antihistamines and benzodiazepines, are generally not indicated because they interfere with the patient's ability to centrally compensate, which increases the risks of falls. So keep away from that Benadryl, Chantel. One meta-analysis of 7 studies found that replacing vitamin D in patients with benign BPPV and vitamin D deficiency lowered reoccurrence. That's interesting, Chantel. Since you spend so much time indoors, have you had a recent check of your vitamin D levels? Could they be low, Chantel? Could they be low? We don't know. Ear stones? Yes, ear stones. Isn't that wild? Yes. If the ears have, or as we know, some of the they have the smallest bones in the body in your ear. So isn't this interesting? I find, here we go. We could get here for vestibular migraines. All right, so that's quite interesting. So this Epley maneuver would be potentially better. See, there really isn't any laboratory testing. It says most patients presenting with with dizziness do not require laboratory testing. However, some differential diagnoses require laboratory tests if there's a high index of suspicion, like substance abuse disorders. That we feel that that's the reason for so many falls, maybe we want to do a urine drug screen. Just never know. Or maybe we think it's a stroke. We don't know. So it depends. It just really depends. It could be suggestive of cardiac disease. This is where I wonder sometimes with Chantel, because we know she's not the healthiest person in Kuwait or anywhere, to be honest. And she's not somebody who's eating well, exercising, for all the time she has in the world to just be. Body is a temple. I really want to take care of myself. It doesn't happen. Like today, for example, I did treat myself to a little treat and went out Sunday. Usually, I'm very fortunate. There's lots of little locally owned restaurants that usually have little breweries attached to them, or they sell beers, because I live in a resort area and they're not far. So Junebug, it was beautiful. It was Sunday, obviously holiday. And so Junebug and I just love to hang out with my dog because all week I'm at work. So we walk because there's lots of places where we can sit outside with her and enjoy the day. We'll get a little snack at lunch and sit outside. And usually people come over and talk to Junebug and want to say hi. And it's real easy going. And so we love doing that. But I know that I'm going to be exercising and then, getting a little treat and then exercising on the way back home. So anything that I've done naughty, at least I'm going to burn a couple of calories. And obviously I tried to minimize it to, treats at the weekend. Though this week I was a little bit more treaty because I had been out to dinner with a friend and so forth. And, but that's the holidays, Chantel, I think this is pretty good information here for you. Some other, so obviously, one of the things with patients with cardiac disease and fainting, we might think cardiac arrhythmias, especially atrial fibrillation. And so you might want to stick a Holter monitor on them, some Doppler ultrasounding on the carotids. But there's no routine imaging indicated for peripheral causes. And peripheral, most commonly by the BPPV, the Meniere's, any of these. And then, so this is here. So this says the most common of it occurs between 50 and 70 years of age and affects more women than men. And it results from loose stones called canalus that get stuck in the semicircular canals. In up to 70% of cases in older patients, there is no apparent traumatic, ischemic, infectious, or inflammatory cause. However, young adults present with head trauma as the leading risk factor. Has Chantel had a recent head trauma? But I also read in another pathology book that it can be often in the vertigo in the 4th decade of life. So I've seen it in different things here. It says the most effective treatment for this is repositioning procedures. And then they even point out a YouTube video here on how to do it. Look at that. Shoot, we're going to have to check this out, guys. All right. Okay. So let's finish out with Chantel, and then maybe we can help her get corrected. So, and then obviously, yeah. So not treating, diagnosing, Chantel. Okay, let's finish you out, girl, then we'll watch something.
I just haven't had the energy. But yeah, I haven't seen a doctor about this, so granted, I don't know if it's vertigo for sure, but I'm just going off of the symptoms. Like, I've had this exact feeling a few times in my life.
Well, Chantel, we're not treating or diagnosing you either. But if you had that dizzy feeling and you were going to your regular doctor here in the US, those would be some of the things that they could potentially think of. So there you go. There you go, Chantel. We saved you a doctor's visit. You need to go see the doctor, girl. We're not saving you a visit. Go get that eye checked out. You're going to go blind.
And I did see a doctor about it then. I know there's a lot of reasons you can be dizzy. So that's why if it doesn't go away, probably by tomorrow.
Yes. It's very broad. They'd have to rule out for like you not playing with your insulin first, girl.
I'll go to a doctor. Like I'll go to either the clinic or somewhere because
you're not gonna go see anybody. It's either this is a sad fish for people to buy your merchandise. 2, you're just lazy content. 3, you've been crying all day. Your eyes are puffy because you can't find Salah, so you got the sunglasses on. I mean, we can sit here, or you really do have this going on, because I mean, why not?
I have a lot more illnesses and health issues than I did back in 2005, like a ton more. I really didn't have many health issues in 2005, but I still had that pretty bad.
2005? Chantel, we're in 2025. Were you talking like 20 years ago? Chantel, you were 21. I would hope not.
Vertigo episode.
Have that sink in. Social life.
I had to be medicated for it. So even if I go get some medication, because
Chantel is the Jackie Onassis of Kuwait. She's doing her best to do a Jackie Onassis over here.
It interferes, like it impedes on your daily life, like I can't do pretty much anything.
Oh gosh. Without
feeling like for a few minutes, yes.
Oh gosh, that was.
But then after that, I just have to rest, like because I get so dizzy and nauseous because of the movement feeling. It's so weird. I don't like that feeling of being like not grounded, like grounded down. You know what I mean? Like it almost like how would I say that? It almost brings about some kind of like anxiety or panic attack in me, like if I think about it too much. So I've just been trying to rest and, but yeah, I'm a whole mess. What else is new? So yeah, that's where I've been.
You mean you haven't been around the streets of Kuwait stalking Salah? in your car and not reading stop signs and about to like slice yourself in half with the steering wheel. That's not what's been going on. Keep going, Chantel. We want to look at this video so we can help you out.
Just taking it easy. Take it easy. Take it easy. Don't let the sound of your own wheels make you crazy. Don't remember what that song, how it goes, and I don't remember who sings it.
Whoever it is please don't get me for copyright. Oh God, isn't that the Eagles?
But anyways, if you know, let me know in the comments. I do miss you guys, and I will hopefully see you.
That is terrible. That her driving is so bad it would need to have somebody throw a bottle at her. I saw that video and that was choice. And that should be the time where you start to think to yourself, Chantel, maybe my driving is not so good here. But no. You double down on your driving.
For a live stream.
Oh my goodness.
At some point.
Every time you yawn, I think cardiac issues, girl.
But it will be a ceiling boring one. But we can just talk and hang out, you know?
It was the Eagles.
Like and yeah, I'm just wearing the sunglasses just because I look like really, really awful. I look like I haven't seen the sun in a few days, you know? And I'm not feeling well. So it's still not too hot. It's still spring. So at some point we do have to go swimming. As for my boil situation.
Oh gosh. Back to the boil. Oh my goodness, girl. I hope not. You do not want to get necrotizing fasciitis. We went over the boil stuff, girl. Should I tell you would keep your primary care busy at all times?
It's actually it's almost like healed. It's like pretty much it's on the mend, so that's good.
On the mend.
Thank God for that.
That does not sound good. It's been like 10 days since I covered your boil, Chantel. And on the mend does not sound good. Girl, if you really had Chantel, if you really have all of these different things going on, I always think like the vertigo would be the least of your issues at this point. The biggest issue you have, one, if you really did have a boil, it was all of that. You do need to make sure that you get these things lanced. You do not want to get septicemia, girl. You do not. Okay. Secondly, your eye, girl, I swear, the fact that you drive and then you talk about that eye, and the fact that you just don't seem to have the insight to understand that you really could go blind because your diabetes is not correctly managed is just wild to me. I know that you're sort of feeling like how a lot of people here feel in the United States about getting follow-up on healthcare, because when you're having to pay for it out of your pocket, you suddenly, you're not going to the doctors left, right, and center. Spend one day in Canada, and next thing you know, you're in an emergency room because you're getting free coverage. But I do understand from my wonderful Canadian audience members, rock on Canada. We're right there with you guys. Don't you worry. We are full support of Canada. That I don't know how much access, I guess, through the emergency room, but how much access to a primary care, because you've been out of the country for so long and you haven't paid your taxes. Oh, thank you. Oh, let me get in here for some things. Sorry, guys. I was sitting here talking away and shouting at Chantel. I want to thank Teresa. Come on in, Teresa. Teresa has joined and become a YouTube member. Well, we're going to be doing more Chantel because I like to do the health stuff, and I had to come back around full circle. So we will be doing that. And thank you, FHJ. She seems a bit high. She does. But to today is 420, so that seems appropriate. This was probably the day before 420, but she might be celebrating earlier. Yeah, we love Canada too. But thank you guys for those. I really appreciate it. Yeah, we are so glad to have more members. We love that. Love that. Yeah, we love our Canadian friends. Absolutely. Canada rocks. So, except Canada, we will send you back your daughter, Chantel. Oh, Cody just gifted a membership. Oh, just Cody, that is so kind of you. Let us know who, if you are here in the chat, received Cody's gifted membership. I think maybe I can see on Nightbot. Hold on. I think I can see on Nightbot. Can I see on Nightbot who got that membership? I think I might be able to. I might be able to. It was Christy K. Christy K. Christy K was the lucky recipient of that very generous gifted membership. Thank you, Cody, for adding to the community. We really appreciate that. We really do. And you'll get to have one of those designed by an American female graphic designer badges, and then the emojis. And so if anybody wants to start dropping in some, thumbs up, I have some thumbs up emojis. Then yeah, that's great, because we want to give thumbs up and say hi, welcome to the community. All right, Chantel, I'm gonna put this in here and say, oh, well, that's not what I was looking at. Hold on. I thought I was getting this address here. Hold on. Let me try to make sure I can get this YouTube address in here. Hold on. I was trying to copy this and then get it up. There we go. There we go. Let me see. I ended up putting something else very strange here. Let me see. So, oh, here we go. Okay. So Chantel, here we go. Hold on. Okay. So we're going to switch over. Here we go. Let me make this bigger. Look at this, Chantel. We're going to show you how to do the Epley maneuver to treat if it was this one. We're not treating or diagnosing, but this is just for fun. We're going to make sure we get to see this. Thank you for that generosity, Cody. That was so sweet of you. Happy Easter. Happy Easter Monday. If you're on Easter Monday around the world. So we're going to finish out with the Epley maneuver. So thank you, Dr. Christopher Chang. And I'll make sure to link this in the description box tonight. And then we'll say happy Easter to everybody. All right, take it away, Dr. Christopher Chang.
Normally, only with head movement does fluid within the inner ear also move, informing the brain that a head turn occurred. However, should a crystal called an otolith gets displaced into the posterior canal of the inner ear, BPPV dizziness occurs. Fluid movement occurs due to the crystal rather than head turns, causing the brain to think movement has occurred even though none has happened. The Epley maneuver is performed to treat this posterior canal BPPV.
Well, that's interesting. So it's literally because of this little stone or crystal that gets in there. It's a little loose crystal, and it's because of that. Isn't that interesting? So this is why I find science, and this is why I find medicine so fascinating. It's just, and that was the joy of you today, Chantel, coming out with something different. I got to go and look at some more guidelines again, and I always find that fun. All right,
by trying to get the loose crystal out of the canal. This maneuver is started by turning the head 45 degrees and the body laid back such that the head is extended about 20 to 30 degrees. If BPPV is present, eye twitching called nystagmus will occur.
Oh.
After 30 to 60 seconds.
Shoot, Chantel, we need to get you flat because I want to see if your eyes start having nystagmus. That's how your doctor described it? It's fascinating. Yeah, it's fascinating. And I know that, it's very easy because you can do this simple test. You're not going to harm anybody. And, either it's the thing, that's a good way of knowing, again, if this is a potential. And then obviously if you, are able to help people with this maneuver. The eye twitching is a bit trippy. Well, maybe that's why Chantel has the sunglasses on. Maybe she's getting nystagmus. You think I've just been trying to encourage her to get the mirror so she can do her feet checks. Maybe that's why she got the sunglasses on. All right, keep going. This is fascinating.
The head is turned 90 degrees to the opposite side and held for another 30 to 60 seconds. The head is then further rotated another 90 degrees, accomplished by having the patient turn onto their side, which is then held for another 30 to 60 seconds. At this point, the head should be turned 45 degrees from the horizontal. When performing this maneuver, another individual can help with these position changes.
Well, see, Chantel, you can get Salah over and have him to help you do all this stuff. You know, I'm sure they do this one in the emergency room. I'm sure this is a very common emergency room procedure for people coming in with the dizziness. I bet you this gets done a lot. All right, keep going. It's fascinating.
The maneuver is then completed by having the patient sit up. So what's going on with these position changes? Essentially, the head is moved in such a way to manipulate the crystal to fall towards the canal opening. With each position change, it takes about 30 to 60 seconds for the crystal to settle into the most dependent position in the canal. If turns are made before the crystal has a chance to settle, the crystal may fall back the wrong way and the maneuver will fail.
Ooh.
It's also important that the head positions are angled correctly, or else the crystal will not settle to the correct position in the canal.
Wow. So yeah, you got to make sure that you know what you're doing when you do this. So maybe Salah's not the person to do this. You know? And the thing is, Chantel, too, you got to think. Look at the size of the character that they have moving around over here. Chantel is not going to move easily around on a table to get some of these maneuvers if this were the chance. Do we all have crystals then? That's a good question. That's a good question. I don't know. I would need to read more in my thing about the crystals. I'll take a look in the thing. I don't know if we have time now. I think I'm running short of time. That's a good question, though. That's a good question. I was thinking the same thing.
And the maneuver will fail. Also, if the position changes are done too slowly, the crystal may not settle quickly enough from lack of momentum, and the maneuver will also fail. Once the crystal falls out of the canal, the dizziness should resolve if due to posterior canal B PPV.
Oh, that was interesting. Thank you. That was fascinating. Let's take a look real fast. Let me share this last page then. Let me see if we can find out if we all have Chris. I don't think so. I want to say that may not be the case. Hold on. Let me see. I was going to try to find the word crystals. No, that says. Let me see. Let me see if I can find the word crystal. Does it exist? No, it does not exist. I'd have to do some additional research on that. So that would be something I would need to take a look at a little bit more. Let me see where it talks about that one particular disease. I know. Now we're all like, do we all have these things? Can we all get this? It just seems like it's loose stones. So yes, I guess we do. Because it happens between 50 and 60 years, 70 years of age, affects more women than men. So that's not good for us ladies. Results from loose stones called canalus that get stuck in the semicircular canals. Up to 70K, there's no apparent traumatic, ischemic, infectious, inflammatory cause. So it seems that potentially the reason why we get these stones becoming loose, stones called canalus, could be created due to some type of trauma, some lack of oxygen, ischemic. That means lack of oxygen, infectious or inflammatory cause, potentially leading to these stones. That's in 70%. But it seems like the other 30%, what's the cause for that? Not too sure. So it seems like there might be a cause behind it. She described it, but I don't know how much. So that's kind of, we have rocks in our heads. Well, it seems we get rocks in our heads if we have certain things that happen, such as trauma, ischemia, so certain things that could potentially lead to these canalus. But now I want to know about the other 30%. So that's fascinating. You don't want stones? Well, make sure you don't have any trauma, ischemia, infectious diseases, inflammation. or be between the ages of 50 or 70, or be a woman. And you have a good chance of that not happening. At least for the BPPV, because there's other different things too. So it's fascinating, isn't it? It's just so no, I don't think any of us want it. And I think for any of those of you who do experience it, we are very sorry that you do, because it cannot feel good. It cannot feel good. So yeah. And so it seems that if she had this vertebral basilar ischemia, that's a very bad one. That's not good at all. That's not good at all. So anyway, okay. So what are some of the recommendations? We got to do that physical exam. So, but Chantel, if you get somebody to help you move your stones in your ears, you might feel better, girl. You got to get there and get that epilepsy thing, but you got to do it right. If you don't do it correctly, you know you're going to end up not working. That says that repositioning maneuvers are more effective when certain canals are affected. And so if it's posterior, however, other maneuvers are more effective at repositioning stones in the horizontal canal. It says it's nearly 100% success. That's pretty good, Chantel. And if there's no improvement with repeated maneuvers, or the patient develops atypical nystagmus or nausea, a different cause should be considered. Oh my gosh. So if you get some strange looking wild nystagmus, like eyes going back and forth, that could mean something else. That's wild. Oh, that's interesting. I'm so fascinated. Maybe she can loosen them on the treadmill. I don't know about that. Sammy says, you just had surgery this past year for staghorn stone. It was huge and not painful. You're prone to kidney stones since your teens. I was about to say, the kidney stones are something that are not fun to have. Not fun. I've never had personally a kidney stone, but I've had obviously family members and obviously known patients who've passed stones, and they're not fun. She has, Sammy says, Catherine, she's hanging hijabs on the treadmill. Yeah, that treadmill at this point is literally a bed for Julia and a clothes hanger for Chantel. I don't think she does anything else with it. All right, guys. I had a lot of fun this evening. I hope everyone had a good time learning a little bit about Chantel's potential vertigo and some things that she could do potentially. Like I said, I don't treat or diagnose, but it was fun learning about canalists and ear stones and things that she could potentially do. Let me make me bigger here in order to help with some of that dizziness. And I did want to thank, this is a great, like I said, I'll link this down below, but this is their most recent guideline, and from the American Academy of Family Physicians. And this particular one is not easily available online, just because it is so recent. So it is kind of behind a paywall. But their 2017 edition is not too dissimilar from this. So Chantel, it does seem it's potentially not too bad for you. Not too bad. All right, girl. All right, guys. It was fun going back to Foodie. I do want to thank all these good things that happened. I did want to thank Teresa for becoming a Life and Vibe Good Life member. I did want to thank FHJ for chiming in with Chantel, and a little nod to 420 for her, because we know what Chantel like. And Just Cody came in with a gifted membership, and Sammy, thank you so much, Sammy in Brooklyn. And she said, thank you. Happy Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving. Happy Easter, everybody. Thanksgiving. My goodness. You can tell it is, gosh, I feel like I'm potentially feeling like I need to get my coffee in me, and probably it's going to be too late, but I wanted to wake up a little bit. At least I'm not out here like physically yawning. Every time I see Chantel yawning during her live streams, though, I do think about her having some type of heart disease. But anyway, it was fun, guys, and I appreciate it. Thank you for joining Summer Cats. Thank you, Sharon. I did want to thank my wonderful moderators, Miss Catherine, and I know Angel of Glass. Where are you, Angel? I want to make sure. She probably popped in and out. Here she is. Here she is. Earstones for her would be wax. I feel like that's a great comment. That is so true. Those canalists are probably just the fact that Chantel just has earwax rattling up in there. So anyway, guys, happy Easter. Thank you for joining me. We are going to keep doing Chantel because her medical stuff is still fascinating. And so we'll do that. All right, guys. Catch you on the next one. Thank you guys for joining us. It was fun. And